All right, we are coming live from the Hamptons. I have Josh Handler on the podcast. Josh is the leader of the Handler team at Exit Realty. He is the host of the House podcast. He was one of YPN's 20 under 40. Josh, how you doing?
What's going on, James? How's everything?
Things are great, man. Things are great. I can't complain. Loving this market, loving life right now. Very grateful.
Not much not to like if you're a realtor right now.
Exactly. So let's jump right into it. How'd you get into real estate?
So a little background. I used to be in the restaurant business, actually.
Me too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I was a bartender in the city, the whole thing.
Gotcha. So I got into, I started working at a pizzeria and restaurant, actually Calda out in Levittown. I grew up in Levittown.
Cool.
So I started working basically at a pizzeria. Ended up in a couple of years becoming a manager of the same pizzeria. I was going to school at the time, decided, you know what, school wasn't for me. I wasn't into the whole book thing. I didn't care, when Johnny got, to the next house. I didn't care what angles meet. So I really went over and told my boss, would you train me to learn this business? And he was like, yeah, I will take you on. It's going to take time. But I was like, I want to get involved one day. Fast forward a couple of years, he opens up another restaurant and he asked me if I want to be involved. I ended up buying into the business and then ended up buying into another concept as well. So I was partners in 2 restaurants and working full time.
Cool.
But I literally missed every single holiday, the restaurant business. Everybody who works in the restaurant business knows it's a brutal business.
I know. I did it. I did the restaurant business through high school and college, So I get it. Yeah. So
how it is.
Oh, bro. Yeah. Believe you me, I get it. All right, yeah, so keep going. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so after being in the restaurant business, I was in the restaurant business from probably for about 8 to 10 years, and it got to the point I needed more. I hated coming to the same place every day, standing in the same spot, making the same money, listening to the same partners, and it came to the point where I was getting burnt out, but not just burnt out from being involved in the restaurant, but really just wanting more. I didn't want to have a ceiling. I was okay working commission based and anything of that nature, as long as I knew I controlled my own destiny. So
cool.
At that time, I was actually in the process of looking for my own home. And one of the realtor that I knew was actually a referral from one of my friends. And after buying my house, I was like, you know what? This is what I can do. I can do this. And I saved up. I told myself I'll work continuing at the restaurant until as long as it takes me to hold 6 months worth of bills, and have 6 months of savings in the account. So if I didn't do a single deal for 6 months, we'll survive.
I love that. And that's smart because I did not do that.
Listen, at the end of the day, it's nerve wracking and people say, oh, commission based is great, blah, blah, blah. But listen, if you're going into a brand new, industry and you don't make any deals, you're not bringing home any money. And, things still got to get paid.
Yeah. The rent bill or the mortgage payment, it's still due.
Car payment got to get paid. I mean,
car payments definitely do.
Got to get paid. So
that's cool. But you did save up to 6 months because, dude, when I got started, I was jumping turnstiles to get to work in the beginning. I swear. Yeah, in the city.
You do what you got to do.
Exactly.
It may not be the right thing, but sometimes you just got to do it.
Hey, never been afraid to roll up my sleeves.
So we were, so basically what happened is, I end up, I hit those 6 months, I get the money, and then I ended up transitioning more into real estate. I didn't quit right away. I gave myself another month after that of working both jobs, full-time, being full-time real estate, full-time restaurant. And then it got to the point I was my phone was ringing constantly for real estate, and I was running into the bathroom taking phone calls. My phone's echoing. They're like, "Are you in a bathroom? Are you in a bathroom?" I'm like, "No. I just have bad service. I'm trying to take these leads, and I'm hiding from customers."
Yeah.
So I got to the point where I had 2 or 3 deals under contract, and my phone was still ringing. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna dive in, and I let my partners know. Listen, I'm just gonna sell you guys my equity, and it's time for me to go, basically. And that's when I really started going full-time real estate, and pretty much till now, never looked back. And that was just under 3 years ago, about 2.5, a little over 2.5 years.
Okay. So you're not green in the business anymore, but you're on the newer side.
Yeah, definitely still on the newer side for sure.
How long did it take you to do your first deal, out of curiosity? From
You know,
license to closing?
from license to closing, I want to say maybe like 2 months. I actually had
Oh,
like,
that's not bad.
I got really lucky, but I wouldn't, I had two great trainers, Chris Boylan and Ron Zimmerman. Ron, who I actually do a majority of my, deals with now, and we work very well together. And Chris Boylan, who's actually, he's been in real estate for a while and one of the top producers in our office, probably number one actually for the last, 5 years. And I had very good trainers, and they really they paved like a good starting point for me. And then as I was developing and learning, I kind of, branched off and started learning things, what worked for me. But that definitely was a huge turning point, having like the proper training in the beginning and people that were out about doing it on a day to day. It definitely helped, so joining a team, I think, or people that have knowledge was definitely a big success and part of, the success that I had so far.
Yeah. And the success that you had right off the bat, one of my mentors, Danny Rodriguez, told me, he's like, listen, you could either do this. I was doing commercial real estate when I first got started. So I was trying to either find New York City building owners to let me represent their space, which is hard to do.
Sure.
Or find clients, find business owners looking for retail space, mostly restaurant owners. And that's one of the things he recommended to me from the beginning was you should probably join a team when you're getting started. And my big head and ego was like, I don't need a team. I got this. And then
Yep.
all of a sudden you're jumping turnstiles. You're like, oh, man, where's this team?
Yeah. Listen, just because you join a team doesn't mean you're stuck there forever. Doesn't mean you can't branch out on your own. Or maybe you end up loving it and you stay there forever, or you stay there for 10 years, whatever the case may be. But, you really got nothing to lose. When you're totally brand new, what's the worst that could happen? You decide, hey, listen, guys, I'm going to go a different route. I'm not a fan of this, and no hard feelings, and you move on. Or it could help you, and you can start developing some deals and, then figure out which way you want to go.
Yeah. I'm on a team now. I'm on the Gold Bar team, and I love the team. I love the brand. And even, we have these morning huddles, and sometimes we don't even talk about real estate. We talk about personal development and taxes and things like that. And it's just great. I should have really done it from day one. That's something I'd advise anyone listening to this podcast, especially those thinking about getting into real estate, to hop on a team. So let's get back into the business. So, you're 2-3 years in now. What's your most affecting source of prospecting?
So I would say, honestly, about 60%, Zillow Leads. We spend a lot of money for the team on Zillow Leads.
How much do those cost? I've never bought a Zillow lead, not once.
So you know what? The way they do it is like they break it up per zip code. So certain zip codes, you own a share of that market per se, and it could be $400 a lead, could be $200 a lead.
Per one lead?
So you pay like monthly, and they say, okay, we're going to give you X amount of direct leads and X amount of leads where they're going to say, this person wasn't available to speak, but they want to speak about this property, and you give them a call as soon as you can, basically. So, by the time you break everything down, it could be about $200, $100 a lead, give or take. It's probably like the average.
And how many of these leads are you closing, would you say? Well, you're pretty good. I wouldn't say pretty good. You're good. So how much are you closing?
My success rate is probably I want to say honestly, 50% or higher, which is nice. Probably, I think the average is probably 10%, I think, when I speak to my rep. And, I'm always calling to ramp up more and spend more because we do well with it. Some people hate Zillow and they say, oh, it's the worst. They just suck all your money. And we don't do any business from it. And then, you got people like myself that crush it. So it can't be just Zillow is bad or Zillow is great. It's obviously the person or the people that are handling the business. Some people call, they get a contact, they call once, they don't get a good vibe, or, they don't ask them the right questions, and they're like, oh, that deal's garbage, or that lead's garbage, and they wash it off, or they don't, it goes to the voicemail, and they never follow up, and they're done with it. I was listening to Handsome Homebuyers, something today he put, I think, with Brianna Murphy, and their biggest thing was she hounds these leads. If you
follow up. I think I saw that too.
Follow up again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's true. If, she's probably, it sounded like she's successful with the leads, over there with Dan O'Neill and his team. And it's that's the main thing. You have to follow up. And when you think you're being annoying, follow up again. And you got nothing to lose. They're either going to love that you're so persistent and they're going to want to work with you, or they're going to finally say, hey, listen, I'm not in the market. I'm not looking anymore. Okay. But then you put them on the drip campaign and try to stay in touch. And maybe in 6 months you get them again. You know, it's just crazy how people don't like to follow up. And if you're not following up with them, the next guy in line is going to follow up with them. And eventually, if they reach
100%.
out about a property, they're going to buy it eventually.
100%. And I've learned that the hard way so many times. Right when the pandemic first started, I saw this woman, you know, it was the pandemic had just started. Okay. And I didn't want to go out with this woman for a tour.
Right.
Ended up, you know, following up with her passively. All of a sudden, call her 2 months, or not, probably, let's say 2 weeks later, I call her. She'd bought a house with a different realtor. Someone I know today. I was following up with him a little aggressively, and I was like, you know, I'm probably annoying him, but let me follow up with him again. And
Right.
he just texted me as this podcast was happening. So it just goes to show that, you know, you really do have to follow up. And that's something I learned pretty early. And I'm pretty aggressive with it too, you know, so in everything with real estate.
No, you really have to go to, balls to the wall and just follow up as much as you can with all your leads, regardless if it's, something that you're paying for or if it's, from your sphere of influence. And I would say between Zillow and my sphere, that's probably 90% of my business, pretty much 90% of my business. That's,
oh, wow.
I get it from Zillow. And
so you're not cold calling at all.
Luckily I've never really was in the position where I needed to cold call to get business. I feel like once I start doing that, I actually just ordered a whole bunch of stuff, for cold calling. Once we're allowed to start door knocking again, I just got custom door knockers made, and we're gonna hit the ground running. We're gonna knock on doors. We're gonna ask them if you're willing to buy or sell your home and the market's hot. Are you looking to sell? And see where it goes. In the very, very beginning, I was calling expireds or trying to find expireds, and I would drive to the house, and I had like these custom folders made up with 2 flyers of things that I would offer. And I listened to a podcast recently. I forgot whose it was, but they really said the number one thing you could do is when you're going there, if you're brand new, you're going to pitch, hey, listen, I don't have a lot of experience, but I'm going to you may be my only listing. I'm going to treat that listing like it's my baby. I'm going to do whatever and everything I can do compared to the person that may have 50 listings. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They're qualified, but are they giving you 100% attention?
Probably not.
So that's definitely a good way for beginners, for green realtors to really pitch themselves. I'm going to give you 100% of everything because you're all I got.
It's so true. I like that. No one's going to work harder for you than me, pretty much,
Exactly.
So are you at the point now where you've scaled to, like, let's say you have a new listing. Are you still doing your open houses, or are you having your soldiers on your team handle it?
You know what? I love doing open houses. I love meeting the the potential buyers. If I don't have any clients that day, I really try to do every single open house that's my listing myself. Could I have people on the team do it, and would they love to do it? Absolutely. But you know what? I like being in the field. I like being. Me
too.
I like it. I don't consider it work. I love just being.
I'm the same exact way. That's so funny. I'm the same exact way. I remember because I started as an intern. I was in college and I was interning for this commercial real estate place. And I remember thinking, I was like, because I would do some of the showings for them and things like that. And I remember thinking, this is actually fun. If I could do this for a living, this would be all right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it's been happening for me. I mean, it's kind of transitioning into, instead of being a 9-to-5, well, it's definitely not a 9-to-5, but it's become, I've been living and breathing real estate 24/7. And I'm so grateful for it. I like it. I like talking real estate. Everyone's like, oh, Jimmy, that real estate guy, James, whatever, however you know me, however well you know me. But yeah, that's pretty it.
Yeah. So I try to do as many as I can. Listen, there's definitely some times where, you have brand new clients and you need to go meet them for the first time, and it may be the third open house that you're doing. I mean, very rare in this market, but maybe the third open house the third open house. So, I'll ask one of my teammates, hey, do you mind, doing an open house for me? And they like it because if they can get some, some buyer leads, from people that are coming in with no agent, they like it. And I'll go meet some new clients, but for the most part, I try to be there.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Good stuff. Yeah. I respect that out of you, out of a team leader showing up to his own open houses. I like it. So,
I appreciate it.
I'm curious about something. So you're in the mortgage game as well.
So I work over at Cardinal Financial right in Melbourne.
Cardinal Financial, and you work with Mike Foley. He's coming on this podcast. So let's talk about the mortgages versus real estate, because which one do you lean more towards? Which one do you like better? How does being a licensed loan officer make you a better realtor? How does that whole thing work?
So I'm not licensed yet. I actually went to go take my license. I'm actually just an assistant right now. I was going to go get my full license. I actually am part of Sal Rizzolo's branch, and it literally, I started doing, mortgage background and doing all the files and everything with him, hand in hand. And it got to the point where it's like, I thought I could do both, real estate and mortgages full time. I was like, oh, no problem. I could double dip. I could do it all. Once you get going and you realize how much work is involved behind the scenes in a mortgage, it is insane. And I was never the type of person that, could sit behind a desk all day in a computer and, pitch deals over the phone and stuff. I was more, be out in the field, talking to people face to face, a different scene every day. So that's kind of what really brought me more to stay with real estate rather than, kind of take less real estate and go more mortgage and go more on the loan officer side. I have how Foley does it is astonishing. How he does like both full time, because he has a full time job and does 2 other full time jobs, and the mortgage job is probably one of the most time consuming one out of all 3. And so I ended up working out a deal with Sal, my branch manager, where I bring in deals. I'll be an assistant, which is what I do, and help the file along. But he pretty much runs the entire file from start to finish, just because it's impossible, to give the service that I want to give to either my real estate clients or a mortgage client. It's impossible when you're so busy to be able to give both 100% service, in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. Which one do you like better?
I love the real estate. I really do.
The real estate?
Yeah,
Yeah. Because I could see you. I mean, I listened to a little snippet of your podcast where you're going around and you met this woman who you brought on your podcast just in a coffee shop, just shooting the shit.
Dude, that was one of the funniest stories. Like, I walked into the podcast. We walked into the coffee shop. We were just taking some photos for social media, and Ryan Serhan always said when he started real estate, he had nothing. He came here with nothing, had literally no business, at all. And what he started doing was speak to 3 random people a day. And you never know if that person's looking to buy, maybe that person's looking to sell, maybe they have a friend that's looking. You never know like what their story is. So it kind of hit me where it's like all these people that you could talk to, even if you just give them a compliment and it leads to nothing, all right, on to the next person. You made that person's day. Maybe you gave them a good compliment. But it just shows you that leads could be right in front of you for free. All it takes is you to speak. And I was never like that.
True. Yeah. It's so true. There's 101 ways to do it. And it's funny because my grandma bought me that book when I first got my license.
Really?
Sell Like Sirhan? Yeah, of course.
Great book.
I was rereading it on the beach this summer. I was loving it.
Yeah, it's true. And it's simple as it is. Just go talk to people and get your name out there. If they're not looking now, maybe they remember you in the future. You never know. So speaking to her, we ended up, speaking in the coffee shop for like 25 minutes. The person she was with, he has a 2-family house in Manhattan or Brooklyn. I forgot which one. He's like, yeah, I'm thinking of selling it in the next 6 months. We exchanged cards and numbers. He's like, yeah, follow up with me in a couple months. That may turn into $1 million, a $1.2 million sale. She referred me a mortgage client. We're doing his mortgage right now. Just like that. It's
amazing. Look at that.
From nothing.
Oh, it brings a smile to my face. Oh, that's fantastic.
It's just so true. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know what their story is, and just talk to people. And I was never that outgoing, really outgoing person. But
really?
Now, yeah, I was never that style. But now it really opened my eyes. I'm like, what do you got to lose? You're probably never going to see this person again. Worst comes to worst, you make a fool of yourself. Big deal.
Yeah, who cares?
Exactly.
That's funny. Did you ever take that improv class suggested in the Ryan Serhan book?
No, I never did, but I really should.
Let's do it together. I'm down. I'll shoot out. Where's your office? Massapequa?
Yeah, Massapequa Park.
Massapequa Park. Okay, cool. Yeah, I went to St. Anthony, so I have some buddies over there.
Okay, yeah. I mean, just learning how to, just speak with people on the fly. It's definitely something, you shouldn't take for granted, because sometimes you're like, oh, what the hell am I supposed to be saying right now? Like,
Yeah.
But once you're like not worried about what you're saying, and if you make a fool of yourself, who cares? It's really easy, actually.
Yeah, it really is. I've always been an outgoing person, but I like what you said. It's like, what do you have to lose? You're never going to you might never see this person again.
Yeah, you only have something to gain, honestly. You only could gain.
Yeah, so true. So, all right, so you're doing the real estate, you're killing it with that. And I like doing this podcast, as we were talking about before the podcast, which is like, we learn a lot as we go,
Yeah.
and I'm taking it some bit. What's your most effective part of the business? Let me steal that golden nugget from you. So you're doing a lot of the Zillow and stuff, and you're doing very well. You're YPN 20 under 40. You're a mortgage guy as well. My question to you is, how are you separating your personal life from the real estate? Because I find, I saw you posted maybe on social media. One of the Zillow things said, Josh was awesome. He was available for me any time of the day or at night. And I'm the same way. I was out to dinner in Southampton last weekend, and I took a call at 9:30. And me and my team were talking about how we need to start setting healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious about how you're doing that.
It's tough, man. Like,
yeah, right?
It really is.
I love it, and not to cut you off, but I think about it until I go to bed, and then the first thing when I wake up, but I enjoy it, if that makes sense.
100%, because I literally, we'll be watching a movie, it's 9:30 at night, and I'm on Instagram, or I'm following up with a client. They're like, can't you put that phone down? And it's like, sometimes I don't know when to turn off. And it's, I'm learning as I go also.
Yeah.
When you like love what you do, you don't feel like you're working. So like, I'll just be sitting on the couch, or, and the phone rings and it's 9 o'clock at night, and I'll be like, I'll just answer it. I don't care, but really, like, if you don't think about the other side of it, like, you're trying to enjoy some quality time with your family. And obviously my wife, then she'll look at me, she'll be like, again, like, you're answering the phone again, and I don't think of it, because when the phone rings, I'm just thinking, oh, business, great. I'm not thinking, oh, she wants to hang out with me right now. Like, so one of the things we definitely did do, which me and Dan O'Neill, when he came on my podcast, we actually talked about, because it was funny. We're all in like the very similar situation where we just work 24/7, and like, we don't have a life.
Yeah.
So
real estate is our life.
Yeah, 100%. And it's so true, because there's no set schedule, unless you really make one. There's no really, I clock in at 9 and I clock out at 5. There's no really, a time like that. So I actually, with my wife, because she actually owns her own business also.
Oh, cool. What does she do?
She's a hairstylist. So she does all, everything from your standard cut to color to weddings to, she's a full service salon.
She must be making a killing, because I remember my ex-girlfriend one time was telling me about how much she pays for her hair, and I could not believe it.
You know what? It's crazy how much people pay. But then you get the people that are like, oh, is it really that much? I really want this, but I can't pay this. It's like, it's just like everything else. Like, you're paying for a service. You want the cheap stuff, you can go find it cheap, and you're going to get a cheap job, or you're going to get it done the correct way, and you kind of pay for it. So, it's funny, but she loves it. She's been doing it forever. But that being said, we both work for ourselves, so we all make our own schedules. So that doesn't help, our hangout time either. We literally.
Yeah, you guys are both out there hustling 24/7, it sounds like, or it could be.
Basically. So, our main thing is how we kind of started to figure out the best way about it is we share our calendars. Like, our calendars are linked up on our phones together.
Aw, so, Josh. It's good,
you gotta keep happy wife, happy life, they say. So.
Yeah, it's true.
So like, if she knows my schedule, so I know, okay, this is my schedule for the day, then, I'll see her schedule for the day. So I know, okay, she's done at 6 o'clock. Maybe I'm done at 7, and then we'll put in there, okay, we're going to go out for dinner, so we block out that time in our, in our calendars. So we know, okay, don't book any work in this time frame. It's like our time.
Wow.
So,
that's crazy. The business that we work in, you have to map out, you have to put going out to a restaurant with your wife on your schedule. That's how busy it gets. It sounds crazy to somebody else, but it's so true.
It's true, because if I don't put it in the calendar, and I'll book a client at that time, and then she'll be like, oh, you ready to go? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to work. Where are you going? And she goes, we're going to dinner. I was like, and I'll be like, fuck, it's like shit. You really have to, if I don't put it in the calendar, I literally just book work because I don't think anything else is going on. But,
Yeah.
we literally, that definitely helps us a lot because we're able to set time away. If she wants to do something together or I want to do something, we just check each other's calendar. If there's open slots, we just book it out for each other. We'll be like, hey, listen, we're doing this at this time. Like yesterday, we wanted to go pumpkin picking, do that whole thing. So we put
Naturally.
in the calendar, we put in the calendar, oh, we're going pumpkin picking from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, whatever it may be. And, we set time for each other. I try not to answer the phone after like 10 o'clock. And that's like crazy.
Yeah.
But like, that's like my cutoff.
But it's valid. It happens. I get text calls at 5 a.m. I get them, 10:30.
Yeah, I try.
The concept of boundaries just came up, and it's funny we can go so on about it because it's so true. It's cool to actually talk about this with another guy who can relate.
Yeah, I don't know, like how a lot of people do it. Like I hear people wake up at 4, like Brian Karp, and then they're waking up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like,
oh, dude wakes up at 3:30. I tried the 4 o'clock in the morning thing yesterday, and I was the crankiest bastard in the world.
Yeah, I God bless him because no shot in hell.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm going for the 5 a.m. club. 4 o'clock, little much, because 10 a.m. rolls around and your eyes are heavy.
Yeah.
At least for me.
I think he goes to sleep though, like super early. Like I'm taking phone calls at 9 o'clock and he's sleeping. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it really goes hand in hand. I'm doing more work late night. He's doing more work early morning. So I guess it kind of like really is the same, but it's not easy. And I'll wake up at 7 in the morning and I'm straight to my phone and I'm looking at what missed calls I had, what emails I had overnight. And I'm trying to get away from running to my phone as soon as I wake up. Like wake up, get my day started. If it takes me an hour to get going and it's like 8 o'clock, you like enjoy the morning when you wake up, rather than jump right into work already.
It's so true. I love my morning routine, my coffee, my little readings, I love that little serenity in the morning to get myself centered, because the first thing I go to is, okay, let me open Instagram in bed. Then let's go right to the email and let's just get rocking and rolling, baby. Let's start grinding, and
yeah, 100%.
so I can definitely relate to that. Oh, cool. It's pretty cool talking to another guy who gets it, because all my friends are like, you're such a workaholic, you're taking a phone call, we're at dinner, but it's so true.
Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, because, when you get these phone calls, you run your own business. These people, your friends, they work for a company most likely, or, they don't, it's not the same. It's not the same concept. You clock out at 5 o'clock, you put your phone down, you're done for the day. We're building our own business. And if you're not going to answer the phone, that next person, that next guy or girl may answer the phone, and that, may be a client that you're not, now working.
You miss out on, for example. And we're not complaining. The listening audience, we are not complaining. We're just talking about how we roll. You know,
I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love it. But
me either. No, I'm the same exact way. I love it too. But for example, I always think about this. Whenever I see a phone call, I didn't want to set up the voice message on my phone, but I set it up yesterday so people know it's me. Because one time I got a phone call. Hey, I saw you listed my neighbor's house. We actually want to sell that. I just closed that house a month ago.
That's awesome.
So if you miss that call, what happens? You miss out on 12 grand, 15 grand.
Yeah, you never know. I always tell my team, because I'm starting to give them leads now. We started ramping up leads, and
nice.
I tell
Zillow
them,
lead? All Zillow?
All Zillow.
Wow.
So I told them, when they call, you got to answer the phone. When I first started doing leads just for myself, every single Zillow lead that came in, you save the number that they call from. It's always the same number. So I save it as like Zillow $$, and literally every single time the phone would ring, I didn't care where I was, what time of day, I would answer that call. Because you never know when you're going to, what call is going to be a good one, what's going to be a bad one. And you only get that one opportunity to make that first impression. So if you don't answer the phone, you're not getting that lead and you don't know what you missed out on. So, I tell my team, it's so important, answer the phone and nail down that client when you have them on the phone, because you never know if you're going to be able to give them a call back, and they're going to answer and you're going to be able to book an appointment. Do whatever you can that first time you get them on the phone.
Yeah, first impression. It's very important.
Very
now
important.
I want to let's double down on the Zillow thing. That's why I'm so curious, because I'm on the fence. I actually was on the phone it was a different lead source. Forget the name of it, but I did speak to them briefly because I'm at the point now where it's time to start investing in my business.
Yep.
But So I want to ask you, so Zillow, I'm not sure if you saw it, just I guess they're coming out, or they have come out with their own brokerage of salaried agents. So
Yeah,
do you,
nowhere near us though. It's all like, it was only like 3, and it was like in like Bumbletown.
okay. Yeah. I'm more so do you see Zillow at all ever, trying to just stranglehold us and take us out?
I think, even if Zillow opens up a brokerage, I mean, everybody, when Purple Bricks first came out, they're like, oh, they're selling everything at like 2%, and they're like the cheapest thing on the block, and
Yep.
everybody thought they were going to take over. Where are they now?
Out of business.
Out of business. At the end of the day, I don't think you're ever going
My
to
man, Josh.
I don't think you're ever going to take away, a quality realtor. It may weed out the ones that aren't doing everything that they should be doing for their clients. But I think the strong ones and the people that are go-getters are always going to be around.
Yeah. Let's talk about go-getters. The only person who's listening to the Ambition audio show, I know it's a corny name, but I'm rolling with it. But the only people listening to the Ambition audio show is going to be a go-getter. Now, I want to, because I almost don't want to give away my secret sauces of the game. But if you're listening and we're like, 30 minutes in, if you're listening to this, you deserve it. So so the market's obviously really hot, and I've been crushing it with buyers right now. So I have 2 questions. One, when you get these Zillow leads and you get the buyers, are you making them sign a buyer broker? And 2, how are you winning bidding wars? Because I'm curious to that.
Yeah, sure. So I guess we'll touch first on the Zillow leads.
Yeah.
To this day, I've been in real estate for 2.5 years, almost 3 years. I've never to the day had one person sign a buyer broker agreement.
Really?
Really. I've lost 3 deals from it that ended up buying something that probably should have been mine over the 3 years. But I've never had one client sign one. And
wow.
That's really just my style. I just want you to work with me because you see the value that I bring, and you want to work with me because you see everything that I'm doing to help you get that home or sell that, or sell your house. I never really wanted them to feel like they were stuck with me if they really didn't like me, or feel like they had to ask for me to like release them. I really show them the value that I bring, and that my phone is always on, and they love it. And even though I have 50 clients at once, they feel like they're the only client I have.
Yeah.
And they, for the most part, they all stay, other than the 3 that I lost in my entire career. But it's literally, I never had one person sign it, and thankfully, majority of them work out.
Yeah. No, that's interesting because I've been loving the buyer broker thing. Absolutely
Really?
loving it. Yeah. Because we do I do a buyer presentation with them. I go over everything we're going to do, how I'm going to provide value. That's the whole thing in Gold Bar. Value, value, value.
Yeah.
And I've been winning. I mean, this is a humble brag, I'm winning bidding wars because I was losing them in the beginning and losing clients because they weren't doing the buyer broker agreement. And I was so new to the business. There was this.
Sorry to cut you off, but so a lot of your clients, like if you were to say put an offer and they didn't get it, they would like get mad at you, like that you didn't do like the right thing, and they wouldn't continue working with you?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So in the beginning, I'm brand new. I was driving this old beat up Jeep, worried about the thing breaking down, getting to and from. I'm showing them houses in Massac Shirley. Okay. I must have showed these women 30 houses. Mike Foley had them pre-approved. All right. So yeah. So this is a real story. Mike Foley had them pre-approved. Anyway, Mike calls me and he's like, yo, they're running around with somebody else. You know that, right? And I was so pissed because I was like, are you, and this was like, my pipeline was dry. This was my only one.
Right.
I didn't even know how a house closed at this point. I didn't even know the process. I'm serious. So anyway, I ended up losing them. They bought a house with somebody else. Then I had this other guy, Brian. I thought it was a done deal, and we didn't win a couple bidding. We offered on 2 houses, didn't get it. He went somewhere else. I don't know if he even bought, but he just completely deaded me. And we were like friends. We were talking about personal things and stuff,
Okay.
And ended up losing them. Yeah. So
listen, even, no matter, even when it happens, it stings every single time. Don't get me wrong.
It stings, right?
It's like a needle just digging into you every single time.
Oh yeah.
But attorney that I use, Rebecca Langweber over in Merrick, she always tells me, you should be doing this, you should be getting them to sign with you, you should be getting them to sign with you. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't. Do you feel, so like my big hesitation to start doing it is really, how do you feel like, how many out of 10 do you think end up signing it, or do you think get turned off, and say, I'm not signing
By
that?
signing?
Yeah.
I've been, now I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm always learning. I'm open ears. I'm doing a podcast, learning from you. I mean, you saw it, before even the podcast started. But I'm closing. When I say closing, I mean getting them to sign a buyer broker agreement.
Right.
About 90% of the time.
Really?
We'll do a Zoom call, I'll tell them how I'm presenting strong offers, how am I beating offers with other people at the same price? How am I beating offers higher than me? How am I beating an offer at a higher price?
Right.
Tell them that's how I can provide you value. Here, sign this document. It just says you won't go with someone else, so I won't waste my time, and I could give you my full effort. And guess what? It costs you not $1.
Yeah.
It's the easiest sell in the world. It's free.
Right.
So that's what I've been doing. I
am tempted to try it. Don't get me wrong.
Do it
and see what happens with it.
Do it.
It's definitely tempting.
Do it. You owe it to yourself, because it's just, it's something free. But I get it, because you're a very likable guy, and I could see myself, if I was running around looking with houses for you, I'd be like, no, Josh is my guy.
Well, if you need a realtor, even though you do real estate, I'm always available.
When we start getting into the investment properties things, because that's the next part of my scale. I won't even get into that right now.
That's a whole nother conversation.
That could be a whole nother podcast conversation. We're buying houses cash though, but it's a whole nother thing.
Right.
So, all right, cool. So last question. It's crazy. You work with buyers, obviously, because you're getting the Zillow leads.
Of course, yeah.
How are you presenting? When you present an offer, are you just saying it's asking 300, hey, we'll offer 301? Or what are you doing to separate your offers and win bidding wars?
So a lot of the time, the way that I'm separating ourselves, obviously every single realtor is going to look at comps. They're going to do this. Like, that's standard across the board. So that's not really going to help. That's not helping anybody. Separate yourself. The main thing that's really helping myself is having the knowledge of the mortgage background, because I'm sending them a picture of my business card saying, listen, I work at the bank. I have them pre-approved at my bank, and we're going one step further. We're not even just giving them a pre-approval, because at the end of the day, these pre-approvals mean garbage. It's literally a piece of paper that says, oh yeah, I looked at a couple of things and they're verified. Big deal. We're putting in what Cardinal, they allow us to do like a pre-commitment. So basically,
you get them in the buyer ready program.
Yeah. So basically, we're saying we're giving them a loan pending a clear title and appraisal comes back for the number, and their stuff is already verified, and it's like shopping with cash almost. We're waiting for an appraisal. That's all we need. I
know exactly what the program is, and you could close them. You can close in theoretically like 2 weeks with that, can't you?
Right now it's really just pending title and appraisal, which are obviously all backed up right now. But
yeah,
as soon as that stuff comes back, as long as the buyer and seller are ready to close, they could get it clear to close in a couple of weeks. As soon as that stuff comes back. So
that's awesome.
How
long does it take to get them into that, like a fully walking around with cash, quote unquote?
If your bank is good, and they offer it, as long as you have clients that are willing to send in their paperwork the proper way, 2 weeks, not even, maybe, a week and a half. And
that's awesome.
And they can be fully verified. It's literally shopping with a pre-commitment rather than a pre-approval letter. And having that knowledge of the background, when I send them a picture, here's my pre-commitment letter, here's my business card. I also am assistant loan officer here. I do real estate also. Obviously, I'm presenting you the offer, but they see, like, you're not wasting your time if you do both. You're not going to bring around a client that's shit, that's iffy. You're making a solid offer because you don't want to waste your time either. And I think they see that, and being able to show them, like, I fully vetted their file, like myself, it really puts you a little bit ahead, than the standard realtor.
Of course. Yeah, of course. And, that's one of the biggest things that I'm doing is having the lenders involved on my, on my offers. Of course. Yeah.
I put my branch manager every time we're doing if we're doing their mortgage also, I put my branch manager on every offer saying, hey, listen, if you want any direct info, not from myself, because technically I'm the realtor, you want to call my branch manager, here it is. Here's his number. Here's his email address. Give him a call and ask him any questions you may want. We're an open book. And I think they like that we're not being,
of course,
secretive or anything.
Of course, because, and you know what I've realized now, I remember when I was first getting started, my boss was like, don't waste your time, don't waste your time, don't waste your time. But I was so hungry for business that I was like, I have time, man, you know, I got time, you know? So,
100%.
but now I totally realize what he was saying. It's like, we don't get paid unless that closes. So of
Right.
course they're going to want to, know about, we need to know that they're going to be able to close.
Yeah, 100%.
Their pre-approval wasn't written 4 months ago. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They have a pre-approval. So, all right, Josh, you're a really cool guy. I actually enjoyed talking to you a lot.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, that's it. I mean, tell them where to find you. Listening audience, if you're still with us, I really appreciate you. Very grateful. Josh, grateful you came on the podcast as well.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Always
Yeah.
love to collab with other realtors and
Let's go.
Always about it. So
listen,
yeah.
If you're ever in the Hamptons, we'll go out to dinner. My treat.
Hey, free dinner. I'll make some time.
We'll make time. Put it on your schedule though. Make sure.
I'll put it in the calendar. I'm about 3 weeks out. But yeah,
man, tell them where to find you.
Yeah, if you're looking to find me, Instagram Josh Handler _realty, Facebook Josh Handler. We kept it real simple. Those are the main two things. If you're looking to get some extra knowledge from, we have a podcast called The House. Also, it's on Spotify.
Good
iTunes.
podcast. I can verify. Good podcast. It's good. It's good. It's better than this one.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, easiest way, phone number 516-732-6398. I'm always open. Give you any info or anything of that nature.
Yeah, if you're looking in the Massapequa area, Levittown, Josh's Market, hit him up. All right, man. It's been great. This is the Ambition Audio Show. Yeah, no problem. Ambition Audio Show. James Hogan, Josh Handler, signing off.
Have a good one.
All right, take care. And I